Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today for our bird identification webinar series. This being the first webinar, Songbirds Identification. This webinar series is being hosted with Mushkegowuk Council Lands Resources in collaboration with Birds Canada. For those who don't know me, my name's Hope Hill, and I am the Carbon and Biodiversity Project Coordinator with Lands Resources of Mushkegowuk Council. And today I'm joined with Graham and Thomas from Birds Canada, and they will be giving us some overview on songbird identification. So just before I pass it on to them, a few housekeeping. This webinar is being recorded and will be available after on the Lands Resources Facebook page and YouTube page. So it'll be available if you want to refer back to it later and for those who are unable to attend today. If you have any questions or comments throughout the presentation, feel free to use the chat function. There will be a question and answer period at the end of the presentation. So at that time, you'll also be able to raise your hand and we can answer any questions. So yeah, I think with that, I'll pass it on to Thomas and Graham.
Yep. Hello, everyone. So I'll just share my screen. Sound. Okay, here we go. Can you see the presentation? Awesome. Okay, so welcome everyone. So I'm Thomas Gianoli, and I'm with Birds Canada, and I'm here with Graham Sorensen. So I'm the bird monitoring biologist for Science in the North, and Graham is the manager of the project. So Birds Canada is a charitable organization that its main goals is to let people know about birds, like we are doing today with webinars and stuff, but also research, conservation, and really anything related about birds all around Canada. So briefly said, but there we go. So today we're going to talk about songbirds IDs. So why we're choosing songbirds? Well, let's start from the beginning. So two years ago, Birds Canada published the State of Canada's Birds, which is a really huge project which showcased how the trends of all birds in Canada are going. And we're seeing like positive trends, but also lots of negative trends. So declines in birds populations in different groups. And the main ones that are declining are, for example, Arctic birds, long distance migrants, and even shorebirds. So for today, we will be talking more about songbirds, which are forest birds. So as you can see, they are at a -1% decline, but it's important to say that it's not all forest birds that are like stable. So some of them are rising, like the ones that are spending the winter in Canada, but the ones that are migrating, they're pretty much declining. So 70% declines since 1970 for birds migrating long distances. It's pretty huge. So it's important to see them and to actually do surveys and recognize them and use some like applications of citizen science that are available. So why why songbirds? Why forest birds? So as you know, on Northern Ontario is really forested. So it's boreal forest for the main part with the Hudson Bay lowlands up north. And the boreal forest is considered the nursery of North American birds. So overall, in all the boreal forests, we're talking about billions of birds of more than 200 species breeding there. And yeah, they're all around. So they're tough to see. It's inaccessible places, but still they're there and there's a lot of them. And all these birds have different migration strategies. So as we talked about, there are some long distance migration that is used from birds like the neotropical birds. So they tend to migrate to Central and South America, like warbirds and thrushes and flycatchers. But there are also some short distance migrants like sparrows, for example. Talk about it a little bit later. There is also some post-breeding dispersion as a strategy. So, for example, if a bird breeds here, well, to diminish a little bit the competition with other individuals, they will just fly a few kilometers away to just, stay away from competition and raise their chance of breeding in the area. There is also birds that are nomadic, for example, finches for the most part. For example, a group of birds that will be seen, I don't know, in communities here 1 year. Well, the next year they will probably fly out maybe here, and then the next year go up here again, and et cetera, et cetera. So they will follow food. So why birds are migrating and moving? It's mainly for they're looking for food because like insectivores, they can't stay during the winter in the north. They eat insects, and there aren't any insects in the north during that period, for example. So why there is a decline? There are many reasons, but in in the northern regions, the main issues are more human caused. So, for example, the when we build pipelines for the forestry industry, dams, mining, etc. So these are the main anthropological things that affect birds and their habitat loss, but also the rise of wildfires events, as most of you probably have seen in the last few years, and also more extreme weather events. So with climate change, these things are more and more frequent, so it's a challenge for birds to adapt to these rapid changes, and it's a cause of their decline in the north. So it's really important to monitor the songbirds that are around us and protect their habitat as best as we can. With weather events, it's a bit tough, but for other stuff, we can do something to protect them. So there we go. So in the region, so in the Mushkegowuk region up north, so around James Bay, a little bit south of that, there's lots of birds, lots of birds, as we said before. So we're talking about around 114 breeding songbird species. So it's a lot of them. We won't go through all of them today because it will take a bit more than 1 hour. But yeah, we'll just go through a few groups of them that you might not know. So we took out like the more common ones, like corvids, like crows, ravens, etc. Even like chickadees, robins. We are going to the more like not uncommon, but a bit lesser known species, so that you will have like a nice introduction to them, and then you will be able to explore all the species variety of these. So, one of the important things to know about songbirds is that there is well, in most birds, there's this thing which is called sexual dimorphism, which is differences between sexes in birds. So, what it means is that males and females are just different. So, more for the most part, males are more colorful. They sing, and they have some like more like territorial behaviors to protect their own territory. But there are some species that are really difficult to differentiate females and males. So we will see it in the next few slides, depending on the species. So an example here, the American redstart, as you can see, really different male and female, really nice male, really like looks like a little flame almost. So and the female a bit drabber. So mostly to be more concealed in nature. Um, Aging birds is tough. Some immatures can differ from adults during fall and spring, but with the eye, like with binoculars, it's tough. So Bending stations can help to determine age of birds, like this one here. It's a good example. I won't go into much detail, but you can see different generation of feathers, and this can let us know what age has this bird. So normally we can go from hatching year, so it's first year, and after hatching year, which is the second year of the bird, all bird anniversaries are January 1st, but after that, it's after hatching year or after second year, so it's young adult. So basically that, but there are some other groups of birds like birds of prey that it's a bit easier, but I won't go into much detail on that. So some clues to help identify songbirds. When we look at them, body size and shape, smaller versus larger birds, species can differ. The shape, are they compact, elongate? All species have their own characteristics, and then specific body parts like bill and legs color, the length of the and the projection of the feathers, and the color patterns are really helpful. And to often to separate the groups of birds is the bill length and shape. So the shape and length of the beak can tell you what they eat. So for example, if you see a cone-shaped bill, well, you're pretty sure that it's not, for example, a warbler. So you can go by exclusion uh, that it's not that species of bird. You can then look at a guide, for example, to explore more easily what species it is. All right, so now we can start the ID part, the fun part. So I started with a bit of colors in there. So the warblers, it's the most diverse group of songbirds in the boreal forest. They're small birds, really colorful and really vocal. They have some really beautiful songs, and when they arrive during the spring, it's for me, it's the best time of the year, and for most birders too. Most of them are neotropical migrants, which means that, as we said before, they migrate to Central and South America for the most part. Some of them stay a bit north than that, but most of them fly for a really long way for such small birds. We're talking about 8 to 12, maximum 15 grams for the bigger warblers. So it's really, really small, but they can fly a long way. And most of warbler species have really great sexual dimorphism. So males are really bright and females are really drab to conceal better. So let's start with the first one. Magnolia warbler, really common in the boreal forest, one of my favorite warblers. Um, so as we can see, male and female differences. There are often some common traits between male and female, like for the Magnolia warbler, for example, the gray head, like this, the yellow body. Overall, the belly is also yellow, but we can see a little bit here some white undertails. So yeah, some criteria that are really helpful. Wing bars too are really helpful for this one. A really big wing bar here present, and the males, as you can see, are pretty flashy with black streaks and the nice black mask and the white eyebrow. Another characteristic of this species, the white here in the tail. This is really because when we look at warblers, we often see them from down to up, because they tend to stay up in the trees. So this is one of the characteristics that this warbler has that not, well, it's the only one in the warblers that has this patch of white in the tail. There are like warblers that have white in the tail, but not in this pattern here. So now we can listen to what do they sound like. There we go. So I'm suggesting you, if you haven't, just raise your sound because some of the sounds may be a bit faint. So just in case, raise your sound. And if you have problems, just write it in the chat, and then Graham or Hope can tell me if there's any issues with the sound. So one trick here to remember this song here is for me it's like sweeter, sweeter, sweetest, and there are other tricks that can come to your mind. Create your own. It's a suggestion that I can give you so that you remind them. But there are some of them that really stick. So now the yellow rump warbler, another really common species in the boreal forest, the famous butterbut, which is a really nice way to remember it. As you can see here, the yellow patch here, that's why it's called the butterbut. Really easy to see when they fly around. So when you see that on a small bird flying around eating insects, pretty sure that it's a yellow rump warbler. So females really grayish brown, but there are some common features. So the upper tail, the yellow upper tail here, and also the yellow spot here that males and females share. The one in males are a bit more flashy, but it's still there, and sometimes they have a little yellow patch right here. Females, males, it's always there. And then males have the beautiful black mask here. So yeah, so this is it for the yellow rump warbler. So a really cool species. The first one to arrive in spring and the last one to depart in fall. So we're always a bit sad during fall when we start seeing them go away, but still they're really, really cool. So the song is a little like sweet trill, a little melancholic, I would say, but yeah, so it's a bit slow. This is part of the trilling warblers. I think it's one of the easier ones to recognize, but here we go. This one is a bit better. So sometimes in two parts, like this one, and in two different notes, but often the speed is always the same one. So next. So here are two similar species, not by sight, but by ear. Sometimes it can get a bit confusing for birders. So it's the Tennessee warbler and the Nashville warbler. Whoops, sorry. Whoops, sorry. Okay. So Tennessee warblers, males and females, are pretty similar. The only difference being, as you can see, this one is a bird in hand from a bending station, so they had all the permits, and the bird was handled really safely to take the picture. So the difference between male and females, as you can see, the female here is really green overall, compared to the male where it has like a really gray head and then a yellow, like green body here. So that's really the difference between the two. It's tough to see by like quickly like this through the binoculars, but when it's close, it's a great way to separate males and females. And they have like no like particular characteristic. It's one of the, like, I would say, plainest warblers around. They are all white underneath, so that's one criteria to separate them. They don't have any patterns in the tail, so yeah, pretty like ordinary warbler, I would say. I don't know, but they're really vocal and they're really loud compared to the Nashville warbler here with the nice eye ring here and here in the male. A little bit pronounced, yellow belly, gray head. So let's hear them, and then I will tell you the trick to separate them. So here's the Tennessee warbler. So as you can hear, it's a three-part song, and then the Nashville warbler. It's a two-part song, so really similar, but different at the same time. So one trick that I have to separate Tennessee and Nashville is that Tennessee is three-syllable, Tennessee. So the Tennessee warbler often sings in three parts compared to the Nashville, which is Nashville, just two syllables, and they often sing in two syllables. Saying that, normally it's like this, but they can vary too. So it's important to learn the voices of the birds, but for starters, if you hear Tennessee's and Nashville like singing normally as they are supposed to, they're supposed to be so Tennessee three syllables, Nashville two syllables. But it can vary and change, and yeah, can get complicated a little bit and frustrating. So right now, here a really nice, another nice warbler. They're all nice, black and white warbler. They like sometimes they have some weird names, like from cities and U.S. states, but this one, the name really tells how the warbler looks. So black and white. It's really like this. So the female, yeah, just doesn't have all as much black as the male. So the male really streaky all around its body, and with the nice little mask here, and the female really more white. One fun thing about this warbler is that its behavior can look sometimes like a nuthatch. If you know the nuthatches, if you see like a smaller nuthatch that looks like a warbler, it's a black and white warbler for most times. So they tend to climb up trees like them. So it's a fun little behavioral characteristic of this warbler to recognize it. So now the song is a really high-pitched song. We can hear it right now. So yeah, like a squeaky wheel, basically. So really highly pitched, like this one, or it can be in two bars like this one. So yeah, squeaky wheel, really high pitched. It's a good way to recognize it. You need to have quite a good ear because sometimes the highly pitched sounds are a bit tougher to hear through nature because the sound travel less. But still, it's a nice warbler. It's pretty common, and yeah. So next one, the northern yellow warbler, another really common one. Uh, that we can see even in urban habitats. They are pretty much everywhere where there are like bushes or small trees. They like to hang out there, even wetlands and stuff. So yellow warbler, northern yellow warbler now, they changed the name recently. Before it was just yellow warbler. So it's yellow, overall yellow, really like a little sunshine of a warbler, really bright. And yeah, the males have this streak here, the brown streaks here, really characteristic. And then they also have some yellow in the tail, in the rectrices, which is really characteristic. So overall yellow warbler, it's a yellow warbler. This one is a bit tricky to ID because they have a lot of variations in their sounds, in their songs. So I put three of them, but it can be more. It's really, really tough because they sound like other warblers sometimes. So it's a bit tricky. So the first one is the textbook one, I will say. So with the little raising note at the end. This one is really the most common, but then they can vary a little bit, like this one here. This one I found that it sounds like a chestnut-sided warbler, which is tricky. And then another one here. Well, so really different, but the voice is there. So this comes with time. It took me quite some time to learn the voices of birds, so don't be scared. It's by training, by going outside. It's really something that comes with time. But yeah, just learning the pattern is it's a really nice starting point. Then northern water thrush. So this one is I find the name interesting because it has the thrush inside, which I agree. It looks like a really small thrush, but it's a warbler. And it stays around small rivers, wet areas, anything that has some water flowing through. and it bubbles its tail a little bit up and down. So it's another behavioral characteristic. Easily can be easily confused with Louisiana water thrush, but there are no like Louisiana water thrush up north, so we can separate just by the distribution. That if you see one like this, it's a northern water thrush. So I won't go into details about the Louisiana ID. So yeah, like a cream eyebrow here, really streaky, male and female, all the same. Even in size, they're pretty similar. And they have like some brownish pinkish legs, which is one of the differences with the Louisiana water thrush, which has really pink legs. So yeah, Northern Water Thrush, and they are really loud. So I really like their song because it's easy to hear and to identify. Really powerful song. It's in my opinion the most powerful warbler around in northern habitats. So I'll let you hear it, and you can hear it for like really far. It's a bit chunky song. So yeah. Sounds really good. So yeah, really nice warbler and easy to identify by sound, I find. Okay, next one, common yellowthroat. So males and females pretty different. They have the yellowthroat, as you can see here, both of them, but the males have this beautiful mask here. In French, it's the masked warbler. So it's a way to recognize it, to remember. If you sometimes knowing the names in different languages can give you some tricks to identify birds. But yeah, so they're really small. They tend to live in bushes too, and yeah, really vocal too. So there you go. So and the undertails here, yellow, bright yellow to males and females. And yeah, not really any other characteristic part of the really like yellow throat, really delimited yellow throat here. So the song is like we can say that it sounds like a witchetty, witchetty, witchetty. So it depends. You can give yourself any tricks to remember it. Really common around the wetlands too. So voila. And then they're called it's like a really chirp that we can hear often if you walk by a bush and you hear this sound here, the little chirp. It's often a common yellow throat. Okay, so now we've finished for the first part, so the warblers, and now just a little quiz that you can leave in the chat. What's this bird? So from what you have seen, the characteristic that I said, what it is, because before we showed some really nice pictures, but in reality, when we look at birds, it often looks like this. So a bit of like a more real situation, I would say. So yeah, don't hesitate to leave in the chat what for you, what's your idea, what's your guess for this bird, and then Graham and Hope can help you out to have the good answer in the end, or they can just leave the right answer after a few minutes. So I'll just change the the slide in 3, 2, 1. All right. So now, sparrows, really abundant throughout the continent. They're everywhere. They're really everywhere. White-throated sparrows and white-crowned sparrows are two of the most abundant species in the whole boreal forest. There are millions and millions of them, and we all know white-throated sparrows. We will hear them pretty soon. So yeah, really abundant. They eat seeds. As you can see, the beak compared to warblers is a bit tougher, a bit thicker, so it helps them eat seeds. They're most of them brown, streaky brown, and yeah, they're really not that colored, apart from a few exceptions. And they are short to medium distance migrants, so most of them can fly like to central US, for example, northern US. Some of them can even stay up north thanks to feeders. Um, but it's really not the most part. And there is not really much apparent sexual dimorphism. So males and females really look similar. Their males are a bit bigger normally, but it's really tough to determine when the bird's not in the hand. So they're a little bit bigger also than warblers, a little bit chunkier and very vocal. So let's start with the famous wet-throated sparrow. So as we can see, the yellow patch here really characteristic of the species and the yellow throat. So really common. There are two morphs, sorry, of the white-throated sparrow, the tan and the white-striped. So the white-striped is the one here, and the tan one is the one here. So as you can see, it's a bit more, yeah, drab, not as much colored. And they differ also in behavior. So, and they tend also to mix. White-striped sparrows tend to breed with tan sparrows. So, yeah, I don't know exactly the complexity of it, but still, it's really nice to see that different morphs have different behaviors and they tend to mix together. So here's the song. Probably most of you have already heard them. It's really classic. During the summer, they're present everywhere. So it's really one of the main boreal sounds that I associate during like early mornings or even during the day. You can remember it by saying "Oh, sweet Canada, Canada, Canada," or like in French is "Où es-tu, Frédéric, Frédéric, Frédéric?" So it depends on the language, but yeah, there are multiple tricks to remember it. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward, and there are really not like other species that sound like it. And then the wet-crowned sparrow. So on the top image here, you can I can ask you a question like, do you think that it's a different morph or it's something else? Like, why is that one brown compared to that one that is black? You can write the answers in the chat if you want, but yeah, I'm curious to see what do you think, and I will reveal the answer in a few seconds, just when I'm finished with that slide. So yeah, male and female, same thing for this species. And yeah, they breed much north than white-throated sparrows, so they tend to breed in subarctic region and even in the Arctic, and then they fly through during fall and spring, and they sound like this. They're really fans of feeders too. We often see like large groups of them in the ground. So yeah, really common. So the white crown, not this one here, the white crown here, so we can see it. Really similar to the white-throated sparrow, but it's really the lone like big characteristic. And why those two are different? Well, it's the answer is this one is a young and this one is an adult. So their feather color will change after the fall. So when they grow older, they will change the feathers and they will become black. So that's the main difference between these two birds. Next, dark-eyed junco. So the dark-eyed junco, really common too. Tough to separate from the swamp sparrow because they're trillers, and they sound really, really similar. They give me often an headache when I'm listening to recordings. It's one of the these two species to tell apart. I find it pretty difficult sometimes. So dark-eyed junco, female versus male. The male is really gray, powerful gray, and the female is more brownish, and they have both a pink bill, and as you can see here, the white feathers at the outside the tail. So really useful to identify them when they're in flight. So great bird, small gray bird with white rectrices on the outside, really helpful to identify. So here's the trio from the dark-eyed junco. Voila. So high pitch, metallic, and then the swamp sparrow will make you listen to use just to get a sense of how difficult it can be sometimes. Yeah. So the difference being, it's tough to say. It's dark-eyed juncos sing more often. It's a trill. It's a repeated trill every few seconds. And the swamp sparrows are a bit more calm, I would say. They sing once and then they wait a few seconds more, I guess, and then re-sing again. So when you hear really repeated trill, it's most of the time a dark-eyed junco. Swamp sparrow are a bit more complex in their trio, but yeah, it's not the easier one to identify. And then some calls. I found like they're shooting little lasers. That's one trick that somebody told to me. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And then another one that we can hear the chuck. Voila. And then the swamp sparrow visually, rufous crown, rufous wing. These are two of the main characteristics, especially the rufous wing. It's really the one that helps to identify it. Um, yeah, it really stands apart from the other sparrows that are more brown. These ones are really rufous. Then they have a gray nape here and here. Females are less rufous, but as you can see, they still keep the rufous wing. Nelson Sparrow. This one is more of a coastal one. Along James Bay, there are a lot. It's one of the main hotspots to see them. So in the whole country, actually. So Nelson Sparrow, really nice sparrow with like beige coloration here. I haven't seen a lot in my life. Just heard them because as you can see in the picture on the right, most of the time it looks like this. So they're really in the grass, really tough to see. They move around a lot, but their song is really characteristic. So it's as Graham told me, it sounds like a soda can opening a little bit. So you can hear it now. Oop, put it here. Did you hear it well? Because on my side it's a bit wonky. So yeah, a bit of a yeah soda can opening. We'll retry again. Okay, a little bit, but yeah, gives you the idea. So again, we finished the sparrow part. So here's a really nice picture. So you can leave in the comments what you think, in the chat what you think it is. So yeah, sometimes you don't need a good picture to identify a bird. This one has everything you need to identify the species. So it's tough, but still. Uh, if you want to leave your guess in the chat, I will change the slide in 5 seconds. Time is up. All right. Thrushes. So thrushes are really cool. I love them a lot. They are amazing singers. They sing really, really well, and they're active. They're crepuscular birds, so they're active when sun is going down, so at dawn and at sunrise mainly, but really, really early or really, really late. And their songs are really, really cool. So if sometimes you have a chance at the crepuscule to just go outside and listen to them in the forest, I highly recommend it. Their concerts are quite amazing. And they're long distance migrants, so neotropical, so they migrate to Central and South America. Males and females, pretty much the same, really not much difference, and they are medium sized, so a bit bigger than sparrows. Again, a bit elongated, a bit more elongated. So as you can see, so this one is a veery in the picture, but American robins are part of this group too. So, but we didn't put them because you probably all know what an American robin looks like. So first one here, Swainson's thrush, sorry. So I don't like the when they give people name to birds because they don't tell me anything. In French, it's the olive-backed thrush. So as you can see, the coloration here is olive, and it's all the same for the whole bird. They have some really nice spots on the chest and the belly, but one of the main features is the eyeglasses that they have. So there is, as you can see here, and then a little line here, which is like a beige pattern that they have that all the other thrushes don't have. So it's a really nice characteristic to see. And yeah, males and females are the same. So I will let you hear its song. Really beautiful in the forest. It echoes really well, and their concerts are really, really amazing. So imagine, so this is just one, but sometimes it's like 10, 20 Swainson's thrushes just singing at the same time. So you can imagine like "Ooh, ooh, ooh," just going up like this. It's quite fantastic. And then another call that they often make, this little rattle and the quip just before it. Yeah. So really characteristic. No other thrushes make these kind of sounds. And then the hermit thrush, similar, but still pretty different. The main characteristic is, as you can see here, so it has the same almost like olive coloration as the Swinsons, but look at the tail, how red it is, really contrasted to the rest of the body. So this is really the main characteristic that separates the hermit thrush from the other thrushes, really the contrast between the red tail and the more olive brown back. Uh, the eye-ring, white eye-ring here, you can see on this one too, and more definite black spots. The one in the bottom is a young individual. Again, the differences between young and adults, the white spots for the thrushes is quite common when they're really young, and then they will vanish through time. So the song of the hermit thrush is really cool. The difference is it starts on a note, then it does its own thing, and then when it restarts, it starts on a different note. So voila. And then the call, I found it sounds like a train whistle a little bit. No, yeah, a little bit like yeah, train whistle a little bit, but almost. And then another whistle down whistle. So it's a bit more melancholic than the Swinson's thrush. Graham's told me also a trick. It's since it's melancholic, it's like an hermit, a bit alone. So, you can put these like descriptions together and make your own tricks. So yeah, melancholic hermit alone. Good way to remember it. So what's this bird? So again, same as before. Which one is it? We can see the face, we can see the chest, but we can see everything we need. So leave the answers in the chat, and I will go to the next one. In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Finches. So finches, really beautiful birds. They're active throughout the day. Strong beaks compared to sparrows, and yeah, they really like seeds. So if you have feeders, you have probably seen finches at your feeders at some point. They're nomads, so they're not really. Some of them are migrants, but most of them are nomads, eruptive and often seen in groups. So what it means, as I explained before, they will just move around where seeds are. So one year they can be, I don't know, around, let's say, Fort Albany, then they can go down to Chapleau, and then they can fly up to Northern James Bay. It really can change each year, and they are eruptive. So when there is a big year of seeds in trees, there will be lots of them appearing out of the blue. We don't like the day before there weren't any, the day after they will be there, and they will stick there for quite some time. So that's what it means, eruptive, briefly. Most of them has sexual dimorphism, so male and females are different colors, different sizes. And yeah, they're really colorful birds. So, and curiously enough, pink is quite popular in finches. Pink and yellow are really popular. So we'll see in the next one. So this one is a purple finch. So really nice bird. Let's start with the evening grosbeak, which is also the 2026 Fabian Ambassador of Birds Canada. It's a special concern species, so it's tough to know the trend of this species since it's nomadic. So there are studies going on to learn more. So, but yeah, they're not going really well because there are also some parasites and bacteria that are affecting them. So yeah, it's a bit really sensitive, especially in feeders. So just a parenthesis, if you see sick birds at your feeders, remember to clean them up and remove the feeders, clean them up, and wait that these birds have flew away because it's some of those parasites and bacteria are really viral and really uh, contagious to these birds and dangerous for them. So just a quick reminder. So evening grosbeak, strong beak. I've bended some of them before, and when they bite you, it can really hurt. And yeah, they eat large seeds, and they sound a little bit like pea whistles from like referees at like a hockey game. So this could be a nice little trick to remember. I find not exactly like a pea whistle, but still makes you remember that. And then they can also sound like this. So they're often seen in groups, so female on the left, male on the right. They're really unique. Not much to say apart of the overall look of it. Really beautiful, strong beak, black wings with white patches on the female, yellow nape. So yeah, they look the feather is a bit different, but they're massive. They're really easy, I find, to identify. So yeah, the nice little well, big eyebrow that goes all around the head of the male is also really characteristic. Then pine siskins, really smaller. They're also really eruptive, and there are some great movements of them, especially in Quebec, but probably also in other spots where there are like group of hundreds, if not thousands, just flying through during fall. So yeah, tough to differentiate males and females, but females have less yellow, as you can see here in the coverts. More yellow here, more white here. So yeah, males are a little yellower than females, so that's the main difference between both. And the beak is a bit thinner than other finches. So here in the picture is a classic siskin picture at feeders. So there's lots of them, and they're all fighting for the seeds. So yeah, it can be pretty fun to see it at the feeders, and they sound like this. Thanks. Everything sound here, and then in flight they sound like this. Oops. Voila. American goldfinches also pretty common. Males and females. Females during breeding season more yellow than during fall. Males with the classic black patch here. Really vocal, really easy to recognize too. Probably you've seen them before, so I will just let it play. Oop. Is it working? Just, oh, bye. Sorry, just restart. So yeah, so the little sound is when they fly. Really easy to differentiate because there's really not other birds sounding like that. And then they change between seasons. So between fall and spring, their feather change color. So here, those this one here and this one here is during summer or fall or spring, and then during fall and winter, they will look more like these ones. Pine grosbeaks, again, really chubby, really feathery. They're really cool. They're beautiful. So they're more gray than the other ones. Red for the males, yellow for the females. And they have strong beaks too. And they really like their fruits. So if you have any fruit trees in your yards, you will probably see some pine grosbeaks at some point. So I'll let you hear the song. A little bit, I don't know how to describe this. They often sound like purple finches, but a bit more sad, I would say, I don't know, and less, a bit cleaner than purple finches, but yeah, this sounds like this. And yeah, it's really like a Finchy kind of song. They sound pretty similar, those two. So there we go. Again, little quiz. So what's this bird on top of the tree? Tough one, but I think you can make it. So we'll just switch in a few seconds. Voila. So blackbirds, I'll go a little bit faster here. So blackbirds are really active, short distance migrants, and really gregarious. So they can form some really huge roosts during migration and wintering. Some of them totaling like millions of blackbirds, which is incredible. Up north, they can be like social and gregarious, but a bit less than down south. And there is a big difference between males and females. In size, it's really quite noticeable, and even in color. So yeah, and they have the right name, blackbirds. They're all black almost. So there we go. Red-winged blackbird, really common, loud all day long. As you can see here, why it's red-winged, well, pretty evident here with the red shoulders. The female can look like anything. Often people they think it's a sparrow or sometimes starlings or other rare birds sometimes, but no, it's like if you see like a bird that doesn't look like anything, oftentimes a larger bird that doesn't look like anything, it looks like a general streaky brown bird. It's probably a red-winged blackbird. And but yeah, they're just yeah like that compared to the male that it's really black and with the flashy red on the shoulders. And they're really aggressive and territorial, so they will attack anything that comes close to their territory. Like in this picture, a male attacking a great blue heron just to make it go away. It can be eagles, it can be us. Really, anything goes. So as long as you stay away from their territory, they will leave you alone. But yeah, they're pretty aggressive. And here's the sun. Just sorry about that. We'll go some here, and then uh, that goes a really high pitched descending call, really common. Voila. Brown-headed cowbirds, one of the only parasitic species that we have here in North America. Well, not in North America, but in the northern part of North America. So they are brood parasites, so they lay eggs in other birds' nests. So the male and female, they just leave the egg and leave them be, and they let other birds do the job. So so yeah, they're little parasites, and yeah, brown-headed cowbirds. So brown head for the male, the female is all plain brown. Uh, Looks almost like a sparrow, but no streaks, no nothing, just plain brown overall. And on the picture on the right, we can see a eastern phoebe, yeah, feeding a young brown-headed cowbird. So this is what happened. It succeeded. Some birds can recognize the different eggs, but yeah, not always. So it's a strategy that actually works. Their song is really high pitched, so that you can differentiate them in the groups of blackbirds that fly around. But it works. Voilà. Really, really high pitched, and then um, so really different from uh, the other blackbirds that are really lower pitch for the most part, and they have a kind of a characteristic sounds to them, but these ones are really high pitched. So common grackle, again black, and the main characteristic of the common grackle is its iridescence, really cool. So black, and as we can see, it gives us like an illusion of a rainbow, but it's not. So it's just the angle of the light reflecting on the feathers that gives its iridescence here, and even the bluer head here. Really beautiful, underrated in my opinion, but yeah, they're really, really nice. And they sound a little bit like this. And yeah, sorry. And the females, smaller, not iridescent, but they have the nice, they still have the nice black bluish head compared to the rest of the body that is a bit darker, but not as iridescent. This one is a group of grackles. Oops. So yeah. And then whoop, here another one. Oh, this is the group of grackles. Sorry about that. This is what they sound like when they're in large groups migrating. So chaos, pure chaos. And you can see other blackbirds in the group. You can hear other blackbirds in the group, but yeah, there we go. Pretty chaotic and loud. Then the rusty blackbird. really cool because they look a little bit like common grackle, but during winter they look rusty, as the name tells. Really, yeah, rusty overall. So, and they're a bit smaller. The tail shape is not the same. It's more rounded than the common grackle, as we can see on the left picture here of the common grackle. The shape here a bit more triangular, and the rest of the blackbird will be a bit more rounded. So the sound here, a bit different, but yeah, it's more high pitch in the end. Sounds like a spinning wheel a little bit at the start, and then the high pitch sound afterwards. So a good way to differentiate it from the common grackle. And then again, what's this bird? Go to the next one. So Virus, really loud and tireless singers. They're tough to ID by ear, really, really tough. And they are neotropical migrants too. So yeah, it's easier to identify them by sight and not by ear. So yeah, really, really, really tricky. They also have, sorry about that, a little hook at the end of their beak, which is sometimes noticeable right here. And they have blue legs, another characteristic of the vireos that you can look at with your binoculars. So here we have the red-eyed vireo, Philadelphia vireo, blue-headed vireo. You can look at them, but I will let you hear their songs to understand how similar they are. So red-eyed vireo here, Philadelphia vireo. And then, whoop, and then the blue-headed. Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes not. I don't know if you do you hear it still? Okay. So yeah, so really different, well, really similar, but there is a slight difference. Blue-headed vireo is a bit, it's the easier one to recognize since its notes are a bit more funky, I would say, a bit higher pitched. But red-eyed and Philadelphia, really similar. Sometimes we can't even differentiate ourselves. So when they're, because red-eyed is a bit more varied. It does a bit more different syllables compared to Philadelphia Vireo, but sometimes you can get a funky Philadelphia Vireo, so it's a bit hard. And then one other way to identify them is by call. So there we go. The little plaintive, like me, just unhappy red-eyed Vireo, and then a bit of two ear here, but similar but more repeated. And then the blue-headed vireo, I feel that it's like laughing right at you. Whoop, again, holy, like this. So yeah, I feel that if you hear a bird that is laughing at you, it's probably a blue-headed vireo that is doing that. So yeah, really beautiful birds, really active. Red-eyed vireos are never-ending singers for the whole day. I don't know how they do it. They have a nice red eye that becomes red through time. And it's not red right away when they exit the nest. And yeah, Philadelphia vireo are a bit cuter, more warbler looking than the other vireos. And then the blue-headed vireo really characteristic with the gray, powerful gray head, the eye, the eyeglasses, and the wing burst too. So some of the characteristics of these birds, and males and females are the same. There's another quiz. So what's this bird? Depending on what you've seen. And Next one. So the last part, we're almost finished. So aerial insectivores, flycatchers and swallows. I group them together since they are aerial insectivores, so really sensitive species because they depend on flies that and the insects that fly around. So swallows, for example, down south have been really impacted by pesticides, for example, and flycatchers too, like alder flycatchers, for example, even olive-sided flycatchers, for example, is one of the threatened species, and well, species at risk. And yeah, like forestry activities, etc., they are affecting them greatly. So yeah, so here we go. Let's start. So flycatchers. This group of birds is really loud during the morning, so their choruses in the morning, especially other flycatchers, is really intense. They sing a lot during early morning. They're neotropical migrants because they eat insects, so they need to fly away. No sexual dimorphism, males and females pretty much the same for flycatchers, and they're really tough to ID visually. Generally, really not easy, but their songs actually they're quite different between each species, so it's a bit like the contrary to the vireos. And then swallows, most of them live in colonies and forage throughout the day, so you can you can see them flying around. And yeah, like barn swallow, cliff swallows, bank swallows, you will often see them in colonies in different habitats, but still the colony side of the species. It's really there. And tropical migrants too. And there is a slight sexual dimorphism, not often easy to see, but we'll see in the next few slides. So alder flycatcher, list flycatcher, other sided flycatcher, a little bit bigger, but alder and least you sometimes need to be like a bit more experienced to differentiate by sight. Even experienced birder find them difficult to see. If you see them fast flying through, good luck. But sometimes they tend to call or do some other behavior that will let us learn them better. So characteristics separating like visually alder and least. The eye ring here and here, a bit more white in the least flycatcher than the other flycatcher, but still tough to see. A bit brownish greener, the other flycatcher, compared to the grayish least flycatcher. And least flycatcher are a bit smaller, but yeah, tough to see. And the other side, the flycatcher, well, a lot bigger, uh, really strong beak for a flycatcher, and it has the gray mantle on the chest. And we can see here the white patch under the wing, really characteristic of this bird when you see it in flight. Sometimes it often appears. So it's a really nice characteristic to ID the olive-sided flycatcher when it flies. And it also perches on top of dead trees compared to the other flycatchers, which sometimes they do it, but it's really characteristic of the olive-sided flycatcher. So the songs, here we go. So birders for this one, they say free beer. So they really like their beer. And then the olive-sided flycatcher, which is the quick three beers. So another one that likes its beers. Whoop. And then the least flycatcher who doesn't like beers. Apparently, it's just a Quebec. So yeah, so it's like a designated driver for the other flycatchers. So, next one, tree swallows, males and females, a bit different. Really blue for the male and really browner for the females. And we can see them often in the boxes, in the nest boxes that are around towns, around communities, or around even wetlands, parks, etc. So really common, really nice to see. And they sound like this. So yeah, don't have any tricks. Another bird that I found that sounds like a wheel sometimes, but a different wheel. So yeah, it's really a characteristic for it's. There's like no other swallow that sounds like this one. Um, the bank swallows, as you can see here in the picture, they breed into burrows that they dig into the sand. Really cool to see the big colonies into sand pits and quarries. And they sound like people like making, I don't know for you, but for me, it's like people making like fart sounds with their mouth. So I don't know. It's a trick that I have for myself, but here we go. Voilà. So yeah, when we get close to the colonies, sometimes these sounds are really loud and really clear. So yeah, little trick that I use. And then cliff and barn swallow look pretty similar. In French, I prefer the name in French of the cliff swallow, which is the white-fronted swallow, translated. So, and it can help differentiate these two. So as you can see here, the white patch on the forehead. And as you can see, the barn swallow doesn't have it. And the barn swallow has the male barn swallow has the long rectrices here, which is really characteristic of the species. And yeah, cliff swallows nest in these like clay mud made nests, often in corners of buildings or under bridges. And you can see them often going to on the riversides to collect this mud and then build their own nest. And both barn and cliff swallow sound really robotic. It's really cool actually, like really unique. And then they're called. And then for the barn swallow, a bit less robotic than the cliff swallow, but still a little difference. And then the barn swallow here, a bit high pitched, common sound around barns. You can hear them flying around since doing these calls, and yeah, their song also. So there we go. Males and females. So for the barn swallow, males have the long tail and the females don't. So that's the main difference. The real females are a little less red than males, and males are a bit more black. So to finish, what's this bird? So again, leave it in the chat if you have a guess. Everything is there. Bit tough, but always there. All right. So just to finish real quick, sorry, I went a bit over time. But yeah, if you see a banded bird, just know how to report it. It's really important. Banded birds have bands around the legs, so it can be plastic, it can be metal bands with codes, colors, etc. On the bottom right here is probably Wilson's warbler with a ring here. So these ones have codes of 4 and 9 numbers, unique numbers in North America. And you can submit the numbers that you see on the website that I showed here. So it's the reporter band. It's managed by the USGS. And yeah, just submit anything you see, even for geese, ducks. It's really important to know for their migration. So the programs, especially for ducks and geese, are made for hunters to collect them and submit them afterwards. So it's really important. So no implication afterwards, just really for to know where do they go and where they're retrieved. So it's really, really important data. So for example, I had a guide last summer that hunted a common eater in Labrador in the 80s and never submitted the data, and then gave to me the band, and we were able to see where the eater from the 80s that he hunted back then, where it came from. So even if it's an old one that you collected a few years ago, it's still useful and still important to submit it. So I highly recommend it for the science side of it. And then here are some tools to learn birds. So a new platform on Birds Canada. So it's called Learn, which contains courses to learn birds, gardening for birds, etc. So really anything. All about birds. Really cool for fun facts, quick ID cues, and yeah, really to learn a little bit about birds in general, and a really nice tool. eBird to submit your data and to look what birds are actually near you, and also birding locations. So if you want to explore, go to a place where you think there are birds, well, maybe other birders have already went there, so you can see which bird species are there. And then to just explore pictures or recordings, the Macaulay Library, Xenocanto is also awesome for their songs. And to learn more, also Dendroica on Nature Instruct is really great. I started learning bird songs on Nature Instruct, so it's a great tool to learn how birds sounds like and look like. So thank you so much, Miigwech. And yeah, just little announcement in the next few weeks, hopefully, well, coming soon, there will be a story map, Boreal and Coastal James Bay story map that will be published by Mushkegowuk Council that we collaborated with them too. So yeah, I'm pretty curious to see the final product. So it will be really nice to learn more about boreal and coastal birds around James Bay. So, well, thank you very much, and sorry for going a bit over.
No, that's great, Thomas. Thank you so much for your presentation. And thank you, Graham, for looking after the chat and adding additional uh, coaching tips and resources. Yeah, because we're over time, I think we'll wrap up and stop the recording. But if you want to stick around for a couple of minutes for anyone who has some burning questions, then you can answer them. But other people can make their way for lunchtime. Um, so thank you everybody for joining us. Just a reminder, our next webinar will be on waterfowl identification, and that'll be next Friday, June 12th at the same time, 11 a.m. to noon. So we hope to see you there. Thank you for joining us. Have a good